is Rock and Roll Grad School with your hosts Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling. Oh, they're so dull. Come on, rip them to shreds.
Hello, kiddies. We are going to have a good time today. We are talking about the ultimate playlist. This is, I think, what we all need is more playlists that we don't have to worry about.
True.
You know, or just stuff you say, yes, I like this. No, I don't like this. And because it's based or it's promoted by the Arizona Lottery.
It is indeed.
You can get stuff.
You
yes,
can
I
get
have
cool
been listening.
stuff.
Yeah, yes, I have been listening. No, I have not won. Thank you for asking.
Well, I would hope you'd split your winnings with me.
Why the hell would I do that?
I don't know, because
Yeah.
you should.
Oh, there was something I was going to read to you.
You're going to read to me all about your Sparks ticket, since I have none at this moment.
16th row. It's the best I could do.
Well, you know,
and I will take it.
I mean, I will say, like, I have to go. I have to go somewhere. I don't care where I go, but I have to go somewhere, even if I have to go alone.
Right.
But I will say,
it's a Spark show tonight.
Yes. I'm not even sad they're not coming back to Detroit, because my ability to be so up close and personal with them at that Detroit show, like, you can't beat that.
Right. No, I sort of was hoping that they would play Philly because they didn't last time. And
I feel like they choose for us. They're like, oh, we'll go see her this year. We'll go see her.
Right. And I mean, like, I was like, okay, I will go meet you on your turf. I will drive to New York.
Yes.
Was it worth it? And then some.
Yeah.
But knowing that they're playing here, I just almost want to say to them, you honor me. I feel unique.
Of course.
Because it's National Crime Awareness Week. I thought there was something fun and upbeat happening in music news. And I feel like, much like life, music news has just been really depressing.
Yeah, it has.
I have not read it yet, but the tribute to Tom Verlaine by Patti Smith is supposed to be amazing.
I haven't read it yet either, and it is
and incredibly touching. My favorite thing I did see, though, sort of in response to that, was somebody saying everybody should try to live their lives as if Patti Smith was going to write your New Yorker obit.
I think
and if you can achieve that and get that kind of love and respect and admiration from her, you've done okay in your life.
I think that is actually, like, all pillow joking aside, is exactly the pillow that we need at the professional office building.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Because that is right on.
It really sums up sort of like what's important. Well, is Patti Smith going to care about this when I die?
Right. But I also feel we should live our lives as if Ron Mail's going to write our obit.
Yeah.
Because that actually probably suits us more, although I do love Patti.
Right.
I feel something wacky and
sure. I
quippy.
Tend to dance like no one's watching, and I also watch like no one's dancing.
Well, I tend to put on lipstick and pour myself another drink. So, you know.
There you go. Everyone's different.
Yes.
Can you explain exactly what the Ultimate Playlist app is? And it's an app, right?
It is an app.
Okay.
Yes, and I can explain it. So essentially, so the Ultimate Playlist app is an incentivized listening song promotion tool, is what it is for the industry. For the end user, it's a gamified playlist experience. It's a chance for them to win cash money and to discover new music. So it was born out of the real need that all of us have right now of breaking through the noise. You know, at the time that we kind of had the first ideation of it, there were 40,000 songs going to Spotify a day. Now they're saying it's 100,000 going to and that's just one DSP. So my business partner and I, Khalid, had an artist development company in Los Angeles. So I came up as an artist, as a staff writer, because of my publishers were great and they gave me wonderful budgets to go in and learn producing. And so by the time I was in, my late 20s, early 30s, I found myself producing a lot in LA. And then, especially the young female artists, I would really resonate with them. So I ended up, kind of working with artists and writing and producing and doing that thing that we all do since the creation of DAWs, and being able to kind of not have to go be in front of a $500,000 mixing board, but be able to play lots of, I play lots of instruments, and so was creating this music. Really had that same intimidated feeling of, okay, so we submitted to playlists on the DSP and then we just hope, it really, we were really present to how difficult it is to know even what to do. And so it just seemed there was a shortage of tools available. So we started thinking of ways to incentivize listening, and also ways really to circumvent this model of, you have a record and then you kind of go try to curry favor with these gatekeepers, and then you maybe do something exchanging currency, and we call it not payola, but is it, and so we were kind of like, why hide the ball? Why do we not just take this capital, these resources that are being used to promote these songs, and pass them straight through to the fans, the people who actually are listening, because we don't have all the barriers that we had when those systems were set up. So we started coming up with different ways. We had one version that was a bracket. We had, all sorts of different ideas. And then the one we landed on was this 40 song playlist. So each listener downloads the app for free. It's completely free to play. We have done this in partnership with the Arizona Lottery, which really is how the whole plane flies. They've been fabulous. They're really interested in promoting artists, and really interested in that working class, middle class type of artist that we champion so much. So it was really simpatico right away. The deputy director has a collection of Telecasters that rivals anybody's I've seen, and you just kind of, we lucked out that we got a really brilliant team and partner and all of that. So as a user, you download the app, it's completely free. 40 songs show up on a playlist, and they're delivered to you in random order. So we have 2 games going on within it. One is called the Daily Cash Drawing, and that's guaranteed. We give away to 18 different winners, anywhere between $50 and $500. And to do that, you accrue tickets. So if you listen to 30 seconds of a song, you get 1 ticket, 60 seconds, another. If you listen to the whole song, you get 3 tickets. If you add it to your Apple playlist, you get 2 more tickets. And if you rate it, you get another ticket. So you can get a total of 333 tickets throughout the whole list. And then those basically go into a raffle. And it's, an RNG highest certification locked away, number generator, and it picks the numbers, and those are our winners, and they get a gift card, a digital gift card in their inbox, and all of a sudden they have $250 they weren't planning on. And the artist has been exposed to a real live human breathing fan in the United States, who could potentially go buy a hard ticket, who could actually take notice of who they are. And with the long form listening, it also has their album artwork attached to it. And so as an artist, you work so hard to create this experience, or at least have the person walk away fully listening to your song, being engaged. It's not background music. So the anti-automation that we have in there, it ensures that it's lean forward listening. They have to interact with it. They have to see your artwork. It's not, TikTok at this point is sped up versions.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even sound like the real original human voice. It's just tiny bit of text there. And so as an artist, there's just not a lot for people to latch onto. And as a music lover and as a music maker, it really is a bit concerning to me that people are becoming fans of songs, and not even full songs, but of hooks, which there's been, I love a hook as much as anybody, but I just, we felt that there was a diversification, or just another offering that we could bring to the table. So we're not purporting to fix the whole thing, but at least with what we're bringing forward, it comports with our values and our ideals, and what we believe as far as the value of music and IP, and we want to drive people towards relationships with artists and give artists the tools to create sustainable careers. So they get, as an artist on this, you get stratified data that is very usable. So you can see, like, you know, women under 30 years old in the Western United States love this. Women under 30 years old in the Southeast didn't really react. So, I mean, but you'd want to know that.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right now, I think we're all just like shooting arrows in a black box, like just
Right.
I'm not really sure where, like, let's plan a tour, but to where, you know? And
Right.
so I think, you know, a lot of these tools have been relegated to, I mean, Beyonce's team surely runs test marketing, you know, they like
Yeah.
the top, you know, performers at labels have access to a lot of research before they put whatever resources they have. And, you know, more mid-range artists, and I'm not talking about hobby artists, I'm talking about people who really tour
Professional. Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're doing this in a real way. It's still going to be hard for them to put together a focus group and, you know, and come up with all of the tools that would make that data usable. So we just really consulted a lot with, I mean, those are all my friends. All my friends are songwriters and our managers,
Right.
you know, so it wasn't too hard to just take all of the conversations that we have after a writing session or after what, you know, or after a couple glasses of wine at the end of the week, you know, and know what is missing and what gaps might be there. So yeah, so for the end user, it is a fun way to discover new music. We really have a variety on there, so it's a little bit of a throwback to like AM radio. So it's been really interesting because a lot of the feedback that we've had so far, we just left beta stage, and so we had really good data come back from our first couple of months in beta, and people loved hearing songs that an algorithm hadn't already decided they would love.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one of those things where I mean, and there's a time and a place for the algorithms that understand what you're listening and serve you more, and that's all fine and well, but it does really silo artists from reaching fans that maybe would love their, you know, I'm a big believer that we're headed towards genre-less listening anyway, because everybody loves hip hop and they love, you know, Tyler Childers or like stone cold country, and you know, it really is kind of an era where I don't think people want all of it kept from them. You know, I think it's that's been kind of one of the fun things that you theorize and you hypothesize what might be possible, but you kind of resolve yourself that like, but probably the findings are going to come back and they're not going to be what I want them to be. But it actually came back so positive that people are really craving being exposed to things that that they may not be predetermined to like, and they get to make up their mind for themselves. I think we all love being asked our opinion and, you know, being thought of as experts. And so it's really been such positive feedback so far. And I mean, the value proposition is like, listen to music when money is not too hard.
Right.
Happy about it. But yeah, it has been, I mean, just as a musician, it's fun to, you know, yesterday I was in a session and there were 4 of us in there, and to be able to say, you know, I cannot make people like your song, but I can make them into it, you know, and that's not something that any of us have really known how to do for a long time. So that's what the ultimate playlist is.
That's awesome. I love it. Is that it's like brilliant, such a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, just the sheer numbers of being exposed to somebody listening to a full song and not doing 10 seconds and skipping. I mean, that to an artist is got to be priceless when you're trying to reach an audience and trying to get someone to listen to what you're saying.
Absolutely. I mean, otherwise we're all just going to be making 6-second sizzles, you know, I mean, and that's not, I don't think, a world of art that anybody wants. And then you look back, like we're getting ready, you know, Grammy week is coming up and we're having a launch party for the industry at the Grammy Museum. So we are, right now there's a Bruce Springsteen exhibit and it has like his Esquire from the Born to Run cover.
Mhm.
It has all these interesting things. And so we're doing an integration with it. And it's been really fun because I'm doing all of this kind of data research on it. But, you know, Thunder Road is a 5-minute song. It doesn't reach anything even close to a chorus. When you really listen, you're like, there's like a refrain, but there's not a chorus. It doesn't even reach that till like a minute 45.
Right.
So if he came out and there were 100,000 songs coming out on the day that that came out, how are we even knowing that exists to support it? And so it really kind of is sobering to think of how much is lost just because of the attention economy. And again, I'm not, like I'm old enough to know we're not going to change that, but at least for some fragment of the population who are into trying, something different, here's a way to do it. And it's very consumable. Like it's 40 songs. It's not, because one of the things that intimidates me is when I'm like, there's 96 songs. Like, oh my goodness. Like how am I supposed to, as a human being, care what song 83 is? I don't,
Because 84 is a banger.
Like, I mean, you would have to devote your whole day, and there's just no, it's just, and I understand what it is. Like I don't fault anybody involved for like how it's gone. It's the path of least resistance, but it seems like a punk rock thing to at least like try something else, throw something else into there and see if we can capture a certain number of fans.
Don't you think it ultimately also will it feed into the way music evolves and all of that as an art form? Because even artists today, more than years ago, I think, do figure out the genre that they want to be in. And not that they don't go back and listen to, but a lot less people go way back and like explore earlier artists and artists from all over, because they don't have that exposure of even just the simplicity of being in a record store and something's on, or watching MTV or whatever it was. So I feel that like if someone's sort of a potential budding musician at some point, to have that exposure could actually change the world for the rest of the world, what they can hear in the future.
That's that's so beautiful the way you put that. One of the other things that we did is to be very careful that it's not like this, the playlist is not my personal,
right.
It's.
So what songs do you hate on today's playlist?
I'm not allowed to play. I actually, like, there's a lot of days that, people will write in and I'm like, oh, that's how, like it's because it would be illegal for me to play.
That whole lottery thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But, but all of that to say, our playlist is, we have a playlist curator. He's brilliant. And so we have 4 categories. We have underground, emerging, current, and legacy. And then we have the genres, which are, hip hop, indie rock, country, pop, and R&B. So in those, we kind of like, do a chart. We use Chartmetric and really find artists. It's, you don't have to know us to be on this thing. Like we're in combing the data, finding who's going to fit those descriptions. And as far as the legacy stuff goes, we've had so many people discover older music because of it. And it's not, they may not be somebody who's going to tune into, 103.7, the rock and oldies. But if you sandwich it between a Lil Uzi Vert and a Jelly Roll song, it's like, oh, they're discovering this old Ricky Lee Jones song or something that they maybe wouldn't have known. And then the other exciting part, just because I come from like the publishing side, is there's all these acquisitions of catalogs going on. And so we hear about the $200 million ones, but there's a lot of other ones happening as well that a lot of them are actually like bundled. It's like, okay, this hedge fund will buy it, or this investment firm, or another publisher. And so I know certain like legacy writers here who also were artists, and they maybe put out a record in 1995. For whatever reason, their team at that time didn't decide to put the full force of God behind some song, right? And that they always thought it maybe could have been a contender. This is a very simple way to go and almost test market that song and to do something to say like, okay, well, let's just see how it performs. And you could see how it could perform against comparable songs. You can also see how it performs, not against, but in comparison to Taylor Swift's, latest song. And so it's really something that, again, for that golden midsection of artists who really have been able to parlay this into a career, it does represent, and the, I have a strong belief, like, you have to be downright brilliant to figure out how to weave playing music into a viable career.
Yeah,
Mhm.
agree.
Yeah.
Like, we always laud everybody for their creativity in the output, but the creativity in piecing a life together when you're hot for about this long and then you spend the rest of the time doing this, and I think giving those people good data,
Mhm.
kind of stuff, information with which they can make really good choices, is exciting to me, because I think we're going to see some creative campaigns or maybe some things, pop up that would have, and I'm always for something getting a second chance or getting a fair shake. And so that's one thing that I think is going to be a second order effect of maybe this existing.
And it seems like it's sort of desegmenting a lot of genres, because sort of the benefit of Spotify and satellite radio and all of these different apps is that it's thinning the herd to such a point where it's like, you like this style, this genre, I can really pinpoint it down, which is great for a bit, but then you find yourself, you're listening to the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
And this seems like a much better way to sort of go like, find something new. It's all here.
You got it. I mean, I think we've seen that broadly, that, we all know certain people on every which path who read one kind of news, or they, they do, like, they find what they like and they do not deviate. And that's one way to do it, but I don't know whether that leads to overall societal health, and I think our arts really are important to the overall health of a society. So it's been interesting. I have, I'm from a ranch in Kansas, and so I have family and friends that I still know that when it, launched in a beta, different friends of mine who took a completely different path than me, have been trying it out and sending feedback. And I, have had certain conversations where it's like, oh, well, you probably, you have the option to skip, because with the licensing, you can skip up to 6 songs per hour. It's a non-interactive streaming license. So it's the same license as Pandora. And they're like, oh no, I don't want to lose my tickets. And then one of them was like, honestly, it's kind of cool, because like, there's no other instance in which I would listen to that song, and we were talking about, it was something like almost, it was on the edge of being drill, and so it's like, it's hard stuff that, like, you're not just going to go on your own listen to. And they were like, it was kind of a glimpse into a culture and a world that I have no part of and wouldn't even know exists, but it humanized it, and so I don't want to be all kumbaya about it, but I think there's nothing lost in knowing that there's other stuff out there, and a bit of an ear to it. And like you said, for up and coming creators and writers, for them to have that myriad of influences, like, that's music I want to hear. That's
absolutely.
And
yeah,
I love that you pulled that out of there. It's very smart.
That's, oh my gosh. Well, thank you. We can end the interview now, but I was
we're
all
done.
smart.
We're all good.
No, it's so what. And okay, so you're with the Arizona Lottery, but people anywhere in the United States can play, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
No, that's a great clarification. So that was actually one of their reasons for doing it, is because it offers, the lotteries have so many barriers. It's interesting. I knew nothing about the lottery before we, became partners with them. And then now I know a lot about the lottery.
Right.
And I am so heartened by when you look at the statistics of how many people have went to college, how many people's lives have changed because of the programming that they do. It's really stunning. And the people within it at the Arizona lottery are they're very aware of their mission and what they are doing. But because it's a government organization, there's been compacts put in place that bar them from having certain kinds of mobile like they essentially can't have mobile gambling.
Mhm.
That's allowed these other companies like FanDuel and the people who can operate with essentially no rules to come in and really sweep up that market share. And newsflash, those guys aren't giving out scholarships. Like they're not doing there's not that kind of push and pull or trade-off for it. So that was one of the reasons the lottery was really intrigued and they wanted to continue exploring this, is because it gave them access to a younger user base. It allows them to get in mobile, it allows them to go national, and it allows them to perpetuate their cause, which is, helping students who wouldn't go to college otherwise, hopefully giving their, patrons a boost that somebody wins $1,000 at Christmas time and it helps their kids get better Christmas or, that sort of thing. And we had a few of those stories with Ultimate Playlist of, a few people who won $250 or $500 wrote in, they're like, this is going to really change the Christmas I'm able to provide for my children. And one of them was a gal I went to high school with who, is a single mom. And you just really see that those aren't one-off stories, that it really can impact. And I think for artists to know that perhaps their marketing dollars that they put towards this are doing something like that versus, sending another program director on a nice steak dinner.
Right.
I think that's something that we can all get behind.
The Ultimate Playlist app is available right now wherever you get your apps.
Rock and Roll Grad School is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, because your impassioned review is just as honest as us standing backstage waiting to come back on for the encore. For more information, you can check out our website, rockandrollgradschool.com. And like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hegquist and myself from our world headquarters located on the second floor of the professional office building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Good night, drive safe, and may all your favorite bands stay together.